guys, welcome back to my channel. So as the title suggests, this video is just advice, hints, tips, anything that just might make that 2-week wait a little bit more comfortable for you. If you've never heard of the 2-week wait, basically when you're going through IVF, it's the period from when the embryo is transferred to when you find out if you're pregnant or not. So as you can imagine, waiting 2 whole weeks to find out if it's worked or not can be pretty agonizing for some people. Some people find it fine, they breeze through it, they're all right. Other people find it horrendous. So hopefully some of this advice that I can share from my own previous experience will help you. Now, I've written a list because I don't want to forget anything, and let's get cracking. Number 1 is relax. Now, you might now hate the word relax because you've probably heard it a million times over if you're having IVF. Just relax and you'll get pregnant. Go on holiday, chill out, relax, and it'll just happen naturally. No. So if you've got a medical problem and you are infertile for a reason, just chilling out and relaxing doesn't mean you'll automatically get pregnant. Now, people are just trying to be kind and they don't really know what to say, but yeah, it doesn't really help you get pregnant. However, relaxing during the 2-week wait is quite important. So what can you do to relax? Now, everybody relaxes in different ways. One could be to read a book. So just to chill out, sit down, take your mind off it by reading a book. Now, you might be into thrillers, you might be into romance, you might be into comedy, something that will just, you know, grip you so it would distract you. Now, some people suggested lots of different fertility books for me to read. To be honest, they didn't really do it for me. It wasn't really something that I got anything out of. If anything, I found some of them quite depressing, and the whole point really for me is to try and stay positive. So yeah, for me personally, there wasn't anything out there at the moment that I found beneficial reading in terms of fertility books. So just find a book that you're going to enjoy. Another thing you could do is use visualization and like meditation techniques. So you could either download an app on your mobile phone that will help you, you know, just to chill out, or you could download something onto your iPad. In iTunes, there's a really famous lady in the fertility world called Zita West. And Zita has lots and lots of different CDs and things that you can listen to. She's got one pre-transfer, post-transfer, and yeah, I listened to these while I was having my acupuncture as well, and they do help you relax. In fact, so much so I fell asleep in you know, a couple of times, so that might help. And just any sort of positive, you know, visualization really is going to be fantastic for you during that 2-week wait. Another thing would be to have like pampering sessions. So what you're going to need to do is just check that these are safe first of all. I've stayed clear during my 2-week wait of things like massages and stuff like that, just because I just don't think it's a good idea while you're waiting to see if you're pregnant or not. But a facial, just something on your face, or you know, anything like that really. Obviously I'm not a doctor, guys, so you need to just double check and just do things within your own comfort zones, but for me that's the sort of thing that does relax me. Or you can listen to music, or another top tip would be just to get Netflix. Get Netflix or get Now TV or any of those, and just really get into like a fantastic box set. Years ago when Prison Break first came out, I literally lost like months of my life because I just binged watched Prison Break, and 2 weeks would have absolutely flown by while I was obsessed with that. So I've watched every single box set you could possibly imagine. I have watched them all. I'm obsessed with box sets. So if you want to get a good box set to watch, then that would be a really good idea. So number 2, maybe write a diary or use a journal. I have kept a diary throughout my whole journey, which I have mentioned before. I think it just helps you talk about your emotions, your feelings, and it's just a good thing to document your journey, I think. I also received one of these in the post, which is called Me, Myself and IVF. And this is particularly wonderful, I think. This is designed to help you journal throughout your IVF journey, and it's made by a company on Instagram, a girl that's actually been through the process herself, and I think it's called Fairface Prince. Let me just find it now. What I'll do, I'll pop the website below, or I'll pop a link to her Instagram. whichever is easier. It was actually one of my friends that initially introduced me to this company, Barefaced Prints it's called. So I didn't know that anything like this even existed, and I just thought, what a wonderful idea. So as you go through, there's little like poems, or there's little like motivational quotes. You can start off by filling in your story. It's got protocol information on there, like day 10 for example, of doing your injections or whatever. It's got our favourite love story of how we met. It's got things like images that you can print out and post. It's got, I hope you inherit your mum's this or your dad's this. So I don't want to go through everything because I don't want anyone to copy her, but I just think it's such a lovely thing to either buy yourself or buy for somebody that's going through IVF. So yeah, Barefaced Prints is where you get those from. The next thing I want to talk about is maybe like trying different recipes and things. So obviously I'm a food blogger and I love food, so to help me relax or to distract me, I sit down and look at new recipes to try and plan out new meals to try. Another one would be to talk. Now I'm a fine one to talk because initially I never used to talk about it at all. I didn't tell anyone. It was something I was embarrassed about and something I kept a secret. But my God, once you talk about it, it's so much easier. Now, it's an extremely personal thing, so I totally understand if you would rather not tell people, but just find someone you can confide in that's not your partner. Talking about it will really help. Also, during the 2-week wait, like meet up with your friends for coffee. I did it yesterday with 2 of my best friends and it was just so nice, and it definitely killed a few hours. We got to catch up, you know, it gives them the opportunity to support you, which, you know, people, oh, get emotional, which people really want to do while you're going through something quite difficult. So every time I talk about people that I care about, I get really emotional. God, I'm such a baby. So, or another little tip, what you can do is do it anonymously. Now, obviously my Instagram is not anonymous, but I did choose to talk about it on there. I got so much support. It was absolutely amazing. Same for my Facebook as well. But what I do know people do is they blog about it anonymously. So on Instagram you can set up a account which is just for IVF, and you can just post about your journey, but you can also then become like a part of a network, or, you know, a group of people that are all in the same position, and you can chat without anybody knowing who you are. So that's a really good idea as well. I would, however, just be a little bit careful about entering into forums. There are Facebook groups that you can join, there are a lot of forums, but sometimes there's things on there that you might not want to see. Sometimes there's advice that isn't that great. It can get a little bit tense when people share their pregnancy news and some people aren't happy for them, or if it's someone's second attempt at IVF and they've already got a child, people could be a bit funny about that, and you don't really need to be reading all of that. So I personally don't use them very often. However, they are available if you think that would help you. I'm in such a privileged position that I've now got this community of people behind me, but not only that, I've got really lovely friends as well. One in particular who's just been there. She'll know who she is. I don't want to say her name in case she wouldn't want me to, but yeah, one in particular that's been there for me loads, who's been through it herself a lot and she's just been absolutely amazing. So I didn't really feel like I needed the forums and things, so it's up to you whether you want to go down that route. Now, the next one would also be to try and stay away from Google. Now, during your 2-week wait, you're going to experience so many different symptoms. What was really hard for me to get my head around is that some of the symptoms feel like you're going to start your period. Sorry about saying that word. At Slimming we call it Star Week, so let's refer to it as Star Week. So you might feel like you're about to start your Star Week, and that can mess with your head a little bit. But some of the symptoms for Star Week are also some of the symptoms that it's worked. So you either get your hopes up and you think, oh my God, it's worked, and then it doesn't, or potentially you could think, oh, it's not worked, and then it might have. So Googling your symptoms, it's a bit of a no-no, guys. You probably will still do it. Even though I'm saying this, you probably will still do it. I did, and it doesn't really mean anything. Like my husband says, look, what will be will be. There's no point sitting there obsessing about various symptoms. So eating well. Now, eating well is so important during IVF. It's also really important during the 2-week wait. Now, if you've researched successful IVF, you'll have heard all sorts of, some people think they're old midwife tales, some people believe in it, but you know what? If it helps, why not just do it? So one of the common sort of recommendations is to have a high protein diet during the 2-week wait. So really reducing down on your carbohydrate, but really boosting up your protein. Also, what they say is really crucial is to eat some pineapple every day, and also Brazil nuts every day. And the reason is there's just certain things in those that can really help boost hormone levels, pregnancy levels, and just really nourish your body ready for that transfer and during the transfer. So pineapple and Brazil nuts and loads of protein. Now, drinking lots of water, that's really important. I've been recommended that a lot. Also, which I'm quite sad about, baths are a bit of a no-no. So ideally you shouldn't have any baths during the 2-week wait. And also caffeine is a no-no. I don't drink caffeine anyway because I've had really bad vertigo quite a few times, so luckily I only have decaf anyway, so that doesn't really bother me. But yeah, if you're a big caffeine drinker, then you're going to need to try and wean yourself off that. Avoid sex. So if you feel like having sex during IVF or during your 2-week wait, then I take my hat off to you. However, it isn't recommended during that period, that 2-week wait period. So yeah, if you can, try and distract yourself and your partner, and yeah, don't go down that route if you can help it. Also, exercise. Oh, this was a really hard one for me. I really love exercising. Well, do I? I don't know if I love it, but I love the feeling afterwards, and I love the way it helps to change my body. So to not exercise is really difficult. Obviously lifting weights and stuff, you can't be doing that while you're having IVF, or certainly not during the 2-week wait. Lots of heavy cardio, insanity, things like that. No, I couldn't do any of that, and that was hard. So one of the things you can do, and I would wait a good few days though till after your transfer before you do it, is just go like on a gentle walk. Circulation is really important, which is why I had acupuncture. So circulation around your body and getting your blood flowing is quite important. So you don't just have to have like 2 weeks of bed rest. People don't recommend that. It's just going for maybe a casual walk. Now, one of the things I have decided to do is stop wearing my Fitbit. So when I was wearing my Fitbit, obviously I was doing nowhere near as many steps as normal, and that was stressing me out. So I decided to not wear that for a little while. So that might be something you want to do as well. Another one, which sounds again a bit like an old wives' tale, but I can understand why it would help, is to keep your tummy warm and to keep your feet warm. So tummy warm, it doesn't mean putting like a really hot water bottle on it or anything like that. Just tuck like a nice thick vest in, just make sure you've got a blanket over you, something like that. But just, yeah, just keep that area nice and warm and your feet nice and warm. Try and also get some other support if you need it. So what I mean by that is, if you don't want to talk to friends or family, or you're actually finding this experience very traumatic and you think it's really affecting you mentally, then go and get some specific IVF counselling. A lot of the clinics will actually offer this, and some offer it free of charge. So if you feel that you need that and you need a bit more professional help, then please go and speak to someone. There's no shame in it, and if it makes you feel better, then fantastic. And then the final one really is, don't overwork yourself. I'm a bit of a nightmare for this because I am a workaholic. I absolutely love my job with Slimming World. I love doing my Instagram, I love doing YouTube, love all of that. But you are going to need to be a little bit selfish. Now, I find this really hard. I feel awful guilt if I can't do something that I want to do. I feel really guilty when other people have to do things for me. I struggle massively with the lack of control and just staying still. So for example, during my 2-week wait, I have still ran my Slimming World group, and it's a bit tricky because obviously there's a lot of lifting, setting up the room, etc. is quite challenging, but you have to just give some control over to your social team or to your family. When I had my failed attempt, I was a little bit naughty and I still stood up and ran my group and stuff, and I do regret that. Obviously there's no one reason why it didn't work. I just think it was bad luck, but looking back I wish that I'd have just sat down, or I wish I'd just took it a little more easy. The thing is, when you're pregnant, normally, like when people can get pregnant naturally, they'll go to work, they probably still go to the gym, they do all the sorts of things normal people do, and they still have a healthy pregnancy. But with IVF you do just need to be a little bit more mindful. So as I said, I'm not a doctor. These are just my own personal tips from my own experience, or research that I've done, or feedback that I've had from other people, or advice from my hospital or specialists that I've seen. So I really hope that this video has helped you during your 2-week wait. And I also really hope that it's successful for you and you get a positive outcome. So let's stick together, guys. Let's keep supporting each other. And yeah, I would say happy fopping because that's how I always end my videos. But we're not talking about food and we're not talking about shopping. So I'll say let's have the happiest 2-week wait that we possibly can. So lots and lots and lots of foppaholic love. Thanks for watching, guys.